Now that was a night of playoff baseball.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I am yours, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. I am an Emmy-nominated television producer who has been a baseball podcaster for the last decade or so, and this is wrapping up my fifth season here at the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Thanks so much for making it your first listen, and follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now, or on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube. And if you're following us every single day, be sure to hashtag us that you are an everyday Sully, so I know who is listening to us every day. Hey, recording this on the evening of the 20th of October. It is way too hot here in Los Angeles County, but the playoffs are hitting up exactly the way I want them to. This is what I'm waiting for, and it's been delivering. We've had a couple of nights. There was a terrific game with a walk-off win by Arizona the other day, and then here we've had two terrific games in the same day. I'm so excited. I couldn't wait. I can't even get a word out. I sound like my dog. So we're going to talk about the thriller in the desert and the very strange game that took place in Texas. First and foremost, let's talk about the trivia question. The trivia question is, it involves the Philadelphia Phillies and it involves the Phillies clinching, which they are not going to do tomorrow. We are going to have baseball tomorrow, and we're going to have baseball on Sunday, and we're going to have baseball on Monday. This is all great. Great. The question was, who is the only Philadelphia Phillies pitcher to clinch a postseason series with a complete game? Who is the only one to go 9, clinch in complete game victory? Now, there are a lot of great pitchers in Philadelphia Phillies history. Hall of Famers: Robin Roberts, Jim Bunning, Grover Cleveland Alexander, Steve Carlton. But the interesting and weird thing about Philadelphia Phillies history is they didn't win a playoff series, not the World Series, not the League Championship Series, nothing until 1980. Not one postseason series was won by the Philadelphia Phillies until 1980. I was alive. I saw it. So that immediately eliminates the Robin Robertses and the Jim Bunnings, the Grover Cleveland, all those great pitchers they had from before, Jimmy Constante, whatever. And so, but the Phillies clinched playoff series in 1980, in 1983, 1993, in 2008, and in 2009, but they always had a bullpen closer doing the job, whether it was Tug McGraw, whether it was Mitch Williams, whether it was Al Holland, whomever it was, Brad Lidge. It wasn't, and let's give credit where credit is due. Big John 08865 responded. Cole Hamels pitched a complete game victory in the 2010 division series against the Reds. That's right. That was, by the way, the same series that Roy Halladay threw a no-hitter. So they had a no-hitter in the first game and a complete game shutout in the third game, and the second game was actually competitive, but the Reds lost thanks in part to a blown save by Aroldis Chapman. That's what he does best. Hey, let's talk about the second game first, okay? Especially for some of you who may not have seen it or were going out, or maybe they were going to do a comedy show. This was the day after the stupid decision to pull Fought, who was pitching beautifully in Game 3, but God forbid he pitch more, have to face someone for a third time. By the way, I got so many responses to my rant. David Stockman 7405, Little Lee 3536, Bobby ST 8629, Michael Baccio. I'm sorry, I'm half Italian and I still butchered your name there. Literally 3536 wrote like I had to get cliff notes to read how long some of these posts were. It was basically agreeing with most of the thing I was saying. I can't stress this enough. I'm not anti-analytics. I'm just for using those analytics properly. And also understand that they are a guidepost and they give you data, but sometimes you have to also see what's happening in the game. And one of the big problems when you set up your pitching staff, well, this pitcher's doing great. He's throwing a masterpiece, but we're going to put this person in and that person because we have the rest of the game mapped out. First of all, you're blowing a chance for a pitcher to throw a terrific game. You're also blowing some of the entertainment quality. Let's face it. As fans, you want to say, "Ooh, I hope he can do it. Do you think he can do it? Do you think he can do it?" Instead of, no, he's not going to try to do it. We're going to have a parade of relievers come in. All those relievers have to deliver. You saw an example like in yesterday's game when they brought in. God, I'm gonna have to look it up. I can't remember everyone's name. You're gonna have to forgive me. But when they brought in the pitcher to replace Fought, the left hander. God, what the hell is his name? Why can't I remember it? It is Saul Frank. There you go. And look he's a major league pitcher. He's a fine pitcher, but he didn't have it yesterday. And he walked the two people he was there to face. And he didn't have it today either. Sometimes you're going to have a pitcher who doesn't have it. And if you take someone out who does have it and you put in someone, the assumption is they're all going to do their job. But if you have someone who wets the bed, suddenly that could create a whole domino effect of bad things for the pitching staff the rest of the way. Now, we saw today in the game, which, by the way, the final score was 6-5 between Arizona and Philadelphia. The Diamondbacks, the day after they yanked a guy from throwing a masterpiece in the sixth inning, used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pitchers in 9 innings. Can't a couple of those pitchers go too? I thought the whole point of having an opener, and I understand using an opener in the situation, you have a left-hander to face Schwarber and Harper and all them up front. You have an opener, and then you have someone who give you maybe 3, maybe 4 innings, and then you line everything up after that. This was like a spring training game. Now, the D-backs got off to an early lead. They were up 2-0 in the third inning. And, Ketel Marte is still hitting at an unbelievably great clip. But then Schwarber does what he does best, which is he hits home runs. And then before you know it, the Phillies tied the game. And then it got weird. That sixth inning got weird, where a ball ricocheted and got stuck in the catcher's chest protector, which I didn't realize meant the runners moved on. And then there was the play, what could have been a play at the plate, but instead the ball got out, ricocheted and went to the backstop. Instead of it being an out at home, 2 runs came in to score. And when the Phillies took a 5-2 lead, I just thought, well, that's it. That's it. And I started thinking about tomorrow's game. I started thinking about the Saturday game and thinking, well, they have Zach Gallen going. And Zach Gallen could save the series and send it back to Philadelphia. Or this just could be one of those devastating rug pull games. And the Diamondbacks got the nice win from Ketel Marte's base hit, but that's it. And then when everything was going wrong for the Phillies, loading the bases, they brought in, another parade of relievers coming in. Nobody could throw strikes. And yet the only run the Diamondbacks got was the 2-out bases loaded walk. And when they couldn't capitalize on that, I said, no, this is the Phillies night. This is just the Phillies night. And then Craig Kimbrell came in and showed you what happened when someone didn't have it. Now, as a Red Sox fan of the 2018 season, who the Red Sox were cheating, there was a lot of shenanigans going on there. Remember that, Astros fans who always accused me of never bringing it up. Red Sox fans have nightmares of Kimbrell's postseason performances that year. And boy, oh boy, some of us had a recurring nightmare reminder when Kimbrell just didn't have it. Kimbrell's has had a great career. He's had an interesting Hall of Fame discussion because of the length of his career as a reliever. It's very rare when you think about someone being a dominating reliever for a long period of time. They usually flame out. But man, oh man, Kimbrell did not have it. And if you look at his line, it was 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, and 3 earned runs. And Alec Thomas came up and hit the pinch hit home run to tie the game. I was like, oh dear. And immediately, because both teams were burning through all their pitchers, all their good pitchers, all their mediocre pitchers, all their pitchers. And I just thought at that point, go to extra innings. Please, please, we haven't had an extra inning game yet. Please, please go to extra innings. Go to extra innings because I want to see what happens to this managers who use, one pitcher for half an, 2/3 of an inning, 1/3 of an inning, 1 inning here, 1 inning there. And then you go into extra and go, oh no, they have to pitch a lot. Yeah. Yeah. And not only that, but after, Moreno got the go-ahead hit in the 8th, there was a little shenanigans going on with the Diamondbacks lineup, which meant that Evan Longoria who started the game as a DH, was at third base, which meant they no longer had a DH. So if they went deep into extra innings, not only were they going to have to go use pitchers for maybe 4 or 5 innings if need be, but if the pitcher came up, they'd have to get a pinch hitter. I wanted that anarchy, but instead we got the 6-5 Arizona victory. And when you think about it, the Diamondbacks are in a borderline perfect situation. The kind of situation where all things considered, it just doesn't get any better than that. If I had told you after the Phillies won the first 2 games of the series, including the 10-0 blowout, that the D-backs would be in a situation where not only the series was tied, it was a best of 3, and they were going to have Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly able to pitch in 2 of those games. There's going to be 2 more games played in this series. Zach Gallen is pitching later today. He's a legit Cy Young contender. And Merrill Kelly is a fine pitcher too. The idea of the Phillies winning both of those games, even though they wound up winning those games in the first part of the series, the first 2 games in Philadelphia, the chance of them beating them both again, I think is kind of sort of slim. Yeah, they're throwing Zach Wheeler. Yeah, they're throwing Aaron Nola. But if they just split, if the Diamondbacks just split that, then there's a game 7 and it's a coin toss. And if that game 7 is a pitcher's bullpen day, I may put my head through that wall because there's no rhythm to a bullpen game. Okay, but you know what? Give the Diamondbacks tons of credit because they've put the team exactly where you'd want them to be, tied with their best pitcher on the mound at home. You can't ask for anything more than that. And you can't ask for more than the drama that we got in the first game, the All-Texas game. Now, I'm in LA County, surrounded by Dodger fans, so naturally not a lot of Astro fans here. I think other than the people of Houston and people who grew up in Houston, nobody's rooting for the Astros at this point. And I have been I wanted the series to go on. I want it to be a 6-7 game series. And we know it's at least going to be a 6-game series. And so, yeah, I'm rooting for the Rangers. Not because of the cheating shenanigans or anything like that. It's because A, Bruce Bochy, I love Bruce Bochy. And B, I've been saying all along, I want a generational moment. The Rangers have never won the World Series. They came as close as you could get twice at the same game back in 2011. They have never won the World Series. I like watching, when I don't have a dog in the fight, I like watching a team winning something that their fan base is going to say, I thought I'd never see this. And this is a chance to do that for the Texas Rangers. Now, Bregman hit the home run early. And then, wait, who was it who hit the game tying home run? I'm sorry. Sometimes, yeah, because sometimes it was Lau wound up tying the game with an opposite field home run, and then there was sloppiness. You know, Marcus Simeon couldn't hold on to a ball that was flipped to him. A ball ricochets off of Seager, and then Abreu winds up giving the go-ahead run, and then Adolis Garcia hits the big home run. Did he showboat? Sure. But he got a 3-run home run that put the Rangers ahead and put them in a position where if they held on to that lead, they're going to go to the freaking World Series or be one game away from the World Series. So, yeah, he did a little flip. Yeah, he did a little jog and admired it. If you don't like that, and apparently the Astros didn't like that, then don't let up homers. That seems pretty simple. But anyway, the Rangers took a 4-2 lead, and next time Garcia came out, he got drilled. And then the bench is clear, and there's weird ejections take place, including the pitcher and Dusty Baker. It was just weird because obviously, I mean, if he was trying to hit him, if the pitcher Bray was trying to hit him, then he's stupid because it's a game where the Astros are trying to keep the Rangers off the board so they could try to rally in the ninth. So why would they be adding base runners to that? But if he was drilling because he was mad, then that's just Bush League. And I've always felt that way. My favorite player of all time is Pedro Martinez, but he would throw at people. I never liked that. If you don't like the fact that someone's showing you up, don't let him show you up. I would rather have balloons falling from the sky and someone hand him a baton so he can go march around the bases doing cartwheels and dancing to Uptown Funk than have pitchers throw at batters because, I didn't like how you celebrate. I'm going to throw a ball at you. Hate that. And then came Altuve. You may hate Altuve. And chances are, unless you are H-Town or Eric, the host of Locked On Astros, chances are you do hate Altuve. However, it's not all trash cans, and it's not all joy buzzers. He's good at it. This was on the road, and when the pressure was on him and he had a bad day offensively, boom, 3-run home run in the ninth. And with that, the Astros have taken control. Is there anybody who does not think the Astros are in control right now? They won all 3 games in Arlington and just have to split at home. Yes, they're facing Uvalde. Yes, the Game 3 starter, might very well be a coin toss at this point. But the Rangers have to win both. And we've seen this with the Rangers. They sometimes look like world beaters. Sometimes look like an absolute disaster. Now, again, it's possible Uvalde could throw a brilliant game day after tomorrow, and then the Rangers go nuts in the final game. And we've seen this. Heck, in the World Series of 2019, the Washington Nationals blew the doors off the dump in Houston, and then the Astros won all the games in Washington. And it looked like, oh boy, here we go. And then Steven Strasburg handed the ball to the ace. Steven Strasburg should have thrown a complete game. He inexplicably was taken out in the ninth. But anyway, he kind of cemented his World Series MVP performance. And then they won the final 2 games, including Game 7, which I think is one of those underrated victories we've had. It was a brilliant game, Game 7 of the 2019 World Series. But here we go. I think the Astros are in complete control. And I don't know what's happening between the D-backs and the Phillies. It's going to be interesting seeing how this all unfolds. This is basically it. We wanted drama. We wanted stars coming through. We wanted controversy. We wanted great plays. Simeon made a couple of bad plays and one brilliant play. There was a couple of great catches in the outfield in the Astros Rangers game, and here we are. So tomorrow you're going to see Zach Gallen, and it's going to be the all Zachs. It's going to be the all Zach attack, Gallen versus Wheeler, and with a 2-2 game, with 2-2 series. And look at both have pitched. Both had wonderful seasons. Both are extraordinarily talented. I don't know if it leans one way or the other. But the fact of the matter is that you couldn't ask for a better situation if you're the Diamondbacks. Hand the ball to your ace with a tied series. Put yourself in a victory where all you have to do is split in Philadelphia. That's exactly what the Diamondbacks are. I don't know if these back-to-back dramatic losses are going to be crushing or character building for the Philadelphia Phillies. But we'll see. What do you think Paul Goldschmidt's up to right now? He thought he was going to be on a perennial contender in St. Louis. But I digress. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for great drama. And I'm looking for a sense of, oh my God, that's a game we're all going to remember. Now, folks, I do want to see an extra inning game. And I wouldn't mind seeing a manager show a little bit of trust. It's funny, and allow a pitcher to go, even if it doesn't stick to the script, because sometimes the script falls apart. David Stockman brought up the fact that Bruce Bochy and Dusty Baker have been making the right moves as a manager. And I think they did too today with Jordan Montgomery and with Verlander. That, yeah, he yanked them, but there's a difference between yanking someone in the sixth inning because it looked like they're running out of gas, like what happened with Montgomery, like what happened with Verlander, or yanking someone in the sixth because the stats tell you to do that. But what David Stockman wrote in his comment, he said, Bochy and Dusty are better coaches since they don't take out a pitcher just because analytics tell them. Again, analytics is not a dirty word. It just means data that you have. It's how you use the data. Anyway, of course, Bochy is 68 years old. Dusty is 74, and they're at the age where they don't care about the front office. They just want to win. I just think it's wonderful to see that Dusty Baker has evolved from someone who was synonymous with horrible pitching decisions to now being the type of person that you should emulate. But we're going to see. We got the all Big Mac attack going on in the desert. And I'm going to bring us to the trivia question because today is the anniversary of Game 6 of the 1975 World Series, a game which many people consider to be the greatest World Series game played of all time. Now, people remember the Carlton Fisk home run. That was the walk-off home run. I would argue that Bernie Carbo's home run was more dramatic. Fisk was a leadoff home run off of the Reds' fifth or sixth best reliever at that point. But when Carbo hit his 3-run home run, what happened in the eighth inning, the Reds were winning 6-3. They were 4 outs away from winning the World Series, 4-2. There were 2 runners on. Former current Red Sox Bernie Carbo came up, fouled off a bunch of pitches, including one where he looked like he had never played baseball before, and then hit a 3-run home run into the center field bleachers to tie the game 6-6. And the game went on to wild events, people being thrown out at home, wild double plays, and then Carlton Fisk hit a leadoff home run in the 12th inning off of Darcy to win the game for the Red Sox. Everyone remembers the Fisk home run. Carbo's home run, more was on the line at that point. They were 2 outs in the 8th inning, and the Reds had a dynamite bullpen. And if he doesn't hit that home run, it's 6-3 going to the 9th. There's no chance Fisk is ever going to be the hero at that point. However, the Bernie Carbo home run was in the bottom of the 8th. The trivia question is about the Reds that day. In that game, in the top of the 8th, actually, A member of the Big Red Machine hit a big home run to right field that basically, at least in their eyes, iced the game. They're now 6 outs away from championship. This home run made it a 6-3 Cincinnati lead, and it put the game away. Which member, this is the trivia question, which member of the Big Red Machine hit that massive home run to right field that, at least for the moment, made it look like the Reds had iced a World Series championship? So send those answers to Sully Baseball on Twitter, Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter, or here on the YouTube page. Rejoicing that we finally got that great playoff day that we've been waiting for. This has been a special Saturday edition of Locked On MLB. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.